जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरे
कृष्ण
Hare Krishna,
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna,
हरे
Hare
हरे
Hare, Hare
हरे
Rama,
राम
Hare Rama, Rama
राम राम
Rama, Hare
हरे
Hare.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Nitai Gauranga Premanande Hari Hari Hari. Bolo Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Nitai Gauranga Bhagwan, Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Studying Srimad Bhagavatam, part of this eternal Dharma Bhagavad Dharma. We are in the sixth canto. Sixth canto, text number 18 today. The chapter entitled Mother Parvati Curses Chitraketu. Sansara Chakra etasmin Jantur Ajnana Mohita Brahmyan Sukham Cha Dukkham Cha Bhunte Sarvatra Sarvada. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Deluded by ignorance, the living entity wanders in the forest of this material world, enjoying the happiness and distress resulting from his past deeds, everywhere and at all times. Therefore, my dear mother, neither you nor I am to be blamed for this incident. So this is King Chitraketu. How, what is his consciousness, even when he got cursed by Mother Parvati, how he's reacting, it's very, very critical. It's very instructive. So purport is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 3.27. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. The bewildered soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by nature. Actually, a conditioned soul is completely under the control of material nature, wandering here and there, always and everywhere. He is subjected to the results of his past deeds. This is carried out by the laws of nature. But one foolishly thinks himself the doer, which in fact he is not. To get free from the karma chakra, the wheel of the results of one's karma, one should take to bhakti marga, devotional service, or Krishna consciousness. This is the only remedy. This is the only remedy. Sarva dharman paritejya mamekam sharanam vrate. Aham tvam sarvapapibhyo mokshishyami ma shuchi. Om ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namah. नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति स्वरूप दामोदर स्वामी नामिने नमः सद्भक्तमणये मणिपुरोद्भवाय च श्रील प्रभुपाद लसद्वाणी प्रचार निरतायति नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्व पाप प्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःख शमनं तं नमामि हरिं परं वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः So King Chitraketu, how is reacting even to the curse? All these examples and the episodes and the setups described in Srimad Bhagavatam, they are all amazing instructions for all of us in the conditioned state to train ourselves, to simulate. These are all the examples for simulation. Simulation in the sense that one doesn't have to face the consequences. Rather, he prepares himself. It's like immunization. So if such situation comes, if somebody curses me, how would I react? I can prepare myself. Just the scenario of these things, because these things can happen in the conditioned state. Chitraketu Maharaj is in liberated state. But he appears as if in a conditioned state, that he made such comments about Lord Shiva and offended Mother Parvati. She surrendered soul. So a great Mahatma, like Mahajana, Lord Shiva is not offended, but those who have taken shelter of his lotus feet. So that means the disciples. So the dust of the lotus feet of the spiritual master or the Mahatmas, they are the surrendered souls, the disciples. So the Mahatma may not be disturbed or may not react, but dust particles, the surrendered souls will react. So what Mother Parvati did, in her role, it was not completely out of place. Why should she tolerate anyone who is offending her husband and the greatest devotee? So it's not completely out of place. But so many things we learn. But this is the thing how we will be able to apply in our daily life. Srila Prabhupada concludes the purport of this shloka. First, the translation says that Chitraketu says that deluded by ignorance, the living entity wanders in the forest of this material world, enjoying the happiness and distress resulting from his past deeds. He's totally agreeing that he's a conditioned soul, and whatever distressful or happiness happens is due to his past karma. Again, the one who has been blessed, or one who has become a surrendered soul to the spiritual master, or one who has taken shelter of Krishna, Krishna has accepted him on the same level because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he's speaking to Sanatan Goswami in relation to when Sanatan Goswami wants to give up his life. He thinks that his body is very polluted with disease, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would forcefully embrace him, his body, and he thought this is very, very horrible that the Lord has to touch this polluted body. So Sanatana Goswami is very correct in his thinking, but the Lord is now chastising Sanatana Goswami, where he says that Prabhu kahe Vaishnavar deha prakrit kabhu nai. Sanatana Goswami just surrendered soul to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prakrit deha bhaktira chidanandamay. So because Krishna has accepted, don't we know this devotional principle? When anything becomes accepted, honored by Krishna, it becomes spiritual. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is accepted, the spiritual master has accepted the disciples. At that time, Krishna is confirming that I have accepted him. Diksha kale bhakta kare atma samarpan, sei kale Krishna tare kare atma samarpan. Sei deha tare kare chidanandamay, aprakrita dehe. And with this, spiritualized. So what is spirituality? This point we will discuss today in little detail. While we are in this apparently condition or pancha-bhautik, this perishable body, but what is spiritual? What is spirituality? What is spiritual actually? One may appear spiritual, but what really it means to be spiritual? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "Sei deha tare kare chidanandamay." Chidanandamay, the body becomes spiritual, spiritualized. Aprakrita dehe tara charana bhajay. And with this aprakrita deha, he worships or serves the lotus feet of Krishna or lotus feet of the spiritual master. So this, what is this spiritual? Within this material realm, everything is made up of everything, our thoughts, our speech, our actions, our body, inside out, it's all material. It is transforming, it's decaying in everything. So where is the space and time for, where is the space for spirituality? That is spirituality. Spirituality is or is not depending on what we are conscious of. It is the consciousness which makes us spiritual or otherwise. So this our path of pure devotional service, it has to be valued, it has to be appreciated, it has to be appraised, it has to be felt to its proper nature. Otherwise, our material consciousness with which we are so used to, it has become our second nature. It becomes very, very difficult to appraise the spirituality of this Krishna consciousness to its highest level or to its sufficient level. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while discussing with Ramanand Rai, is bringing this point, and Srila Prabhupada also establishes this Krishna consciousness movement, and coming especially from the line of Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu is, while discussing with Ramanand Rai, he's asking these questions. Okay, go further and further and further. While describing the necessity of sadhana bhakti in the pure bhakti, he's saying Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati. See, this shloka is why critical? Because Srila Prabhupada was asked the question, on what basis you are establishing this Krishna consciousness? What is its motive? and what is his purpose, what the goal is to be accomplished. And so Prabhupada said, from Padyavali he uses, and this is also expressed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela. In the 8th chapter, there is a conversation where Mahaprabhu is, after going through jnana and karma and all, the pure bhakti begins with this. Mahaprabhu is asking Rai Ramanand Rai, when he quotes this shloka, Krishna bhakti rasya bhavita matihi kritam yadi kutopi labhyate tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti sukritai na labhyate. Janma koti sukritai na labhyate. Millions of births, pious activities wouldn't suffice. It is that critical. Wow, something so difficult that one could not acquire it even through the accumulation of pious deeds of millions of births. Can you imagine? What kind of stuff is this? Krishna consciousness of pure bhakti. And which is the only means which we have not, it has not accrued to us, it has not, we have not experienced it since eternity to the extent which is required to completely free us from the influence of the 3 modes of materialism, even while we are stuck here. The level of our being stuck here, engrossed, it is so deep rooted we cannot even imagine ourselves. That's why rather than wondering how deeply rooted I am in material consciousness, we can lose all time. The whole life can be lost into this until we imbibe the very remedy, or we become eligible, we become blessed with that rare thing which we could not achieve. So our whole focus in Krishna, how to achieve that mulyam ekalam tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti sukritai na labhyate tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate yad brahmatam upariyadha. We have experienced going up and down from Brahmalok to Patalok. All the species we have experienced. Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate. It cannot be achieved even by going up and down within this material realm. Na labhyate yad brahmatam upariyadha tal labhyate dukkavad anyate sukham. So in purport, in the translation, dukkhavat sukham, just as distress comes uninvited, undesired, unplanned, the sukha also comes. So we cannot become too attached to concerned to our present situations, whether it is favorable or unfavorable materially. But spiritually, we can make it most favorable. Rather, we can utilize even material distressful or even distress. Yeah, here the question is the distressful or lamentable situation to our spiritual advantage. This is the art of Krishna consciousness. So tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam. How to find attraction? If I attain that consciousness, mati means consciousness. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati, our intelligence, if it becomes surcharged with, imbued with rasa bhavita mati, Krishna bhakti rasa. Rasa means which gives us the like rasayan, correct? Relishable. If we find something, if we make this, if Krishna consciousness becomes relishable for us, then we can then we are freed from other unwanted relishments which we have become so used to. That is the point. So the secret is tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam. The only price to purchase that or that thing is laulyam. Laulyam means the greed or the eagerness. So how we attain that eagerness, that question, that $1 billion question. Laulyam, that greed, that attachment, that rati. That's the only price with which we can have it. Where to get it? That's why it is said that however greatly one can be situated in sadhan bhakti. Sadhan bhakti, we will focus. Sadhan bhakti was the apparent bhakti. Our engagement in the conditioned state, we are trying to disengage ourselves from unwanted affairs so that, and in order to do that, we take the process of sadhan bhakti 24/7. We try to free ourselves, or keep away from unwanted engagement. That's the purpose. So it's kind of Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Samad Sindhu, while describing the nature of sadhan bhakti, bhav bhakti, and prem bhakti, he describes this sadhan bhakti is an imitation bhakti. We are just trying to follow. We have not developed the rasa. But hoping that yes, our previous acharyas, our authorities have given us this engagement, and we hope that one day it leads to spontaneity, the rasa. Sadhan bhakti, we force ourselves, we regulate ourselves, we become disciplined by the authorities to engage. So sadhan bhakti is actually not bhakti. The bhakti begins at bhava stage. Because bhakti is where, what is the resting place of bhakti? It's in the consciousness. And where is the soul? This question in Bhaktivedanta Institute, and the resting place of the soul. Where soul means myself. Where do I reside? They say in the heart, correct? Or the amoeba has heart. Amoeba is one cell. Most of the things which we think, this is my heart, this is my hand, amoeba doesn't. But amoeba has consciousness. Consciousness is the core. Core means the heart. So consciousness is the core of one's existence. So where am I? If I ask myself this question, the reply comes, I am where or what I am conscious of. So I am defined, my existence is defined by what I am conscious of, isn't it? This is for contemplation. Because this consciousness is so powerful. Even apparently, I am in this body. If I'm conscious of something else or somewhere else, I am there. Because in a sense, I cannot spot myself. I'm so utterly small. I cannot spot, I cannot establish that I'm here. I'm here. But I can definitely, it can be true. I am where or what I'm conscious of. That is the core. So the domain of the soul is its consciousness. And that is the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam. From consciousness point of view, that we are trying to raise our consciousness or to purify our consciousness to become conscious of Krishna. Correct? So if we are conscious of Krishna, where are we? We are with Krishna. Makes sense? So this is self-analyzing, self-analysis. This is for contemplation, this good. But the question remains how to achieve, how to acquire, how to qualify that state of consciousness where we are always conscious of Krishna. Because laulyam, when one becomes greedy of something or taste to something, then one doesn't have to make endeavor to become a taste or to be conscious of. Because we are not incessantly conscious of Krishna in the conditioned state of life. That's why we struggle. So sadhana bhakti means struggling bhakti. But devotion is susukham kartum abhyayam. That's why Rupa Goswami says that the sadhana bhakti stage is an imitation bhakti. Oh, I chant 16 rounds, I chant 64 rounds, and I just somehow push myself, pushing. It's very good because it frees us from unwanted engagements. That's for sure. But the secret remains how to achieve, how to pay the price for that clothium greed, which naturally I can say that I don't have. Still, that is the only price with which to purchase what we want, what is really the necessity of the soul. Janma koti sukritai na labhyate. So, when the greed is there, then the desire to do Krishna seva. How to establish that somebody is greedy for Krishna bhakti. Then he will have strong desire, strong lalsa for doing Krishna seva. So Krishna seva, if I have a strong desire for doing Krishna seva, then that will take over. And sometimes in the name of sadhana bhakti, we block our participation in Krishna seva. When the opportunity is there to do Krishna seva, we say, oh, we are just chanting. I have used that example several times. There was a very, very kind spiritual master, and he had few disciples, and one disciple, very smart. And, so the spiritual master said, okay, some occasion has come for celebration, some utsav. So he asked the disciple, Esho. It was in Bengali. I don't know Bengali, but if I speak, it will be very laughable. So I will just avoid. But sometimes my Bengali god brothers and others, so they say, no, you speak Bengali. When you speak tutti frutti, it is very relishable. So I will try if it becomes relishable, because our subject matter is only relish. How to develop that relishment? So the disciple said, Gurudev, yes, but Ami job korchi ekhan. Right now I'm doing japa. So the spiritual master said, okay, bhalo shishya, tumi khub bhalo. Okay, tumi job koro. So Ami jai, the Gurudev goes for shopping and all these requirements he goes, and then he comes back, he says, okay, shishya, esho, ashun, sab tayar, I have brought everything. Now let's prepare bhoga for the utsav. And the disciple says, Gurudev, but abhi to ekhan bhi jap karchi. I'm still chanting. So Gurudev says, okay, you continue jap, khub bhalo. He appreciates whatever, at least he does something. And the spiritual master makes the whole cooking and everything. Then now time for offering to the deity, to the Lord. So okay, शिष्य ऐशो सब तैयारी हो गई है. Now time for doing offering to the Lord and doing kirtan and everything like that. So the disciple says, Gurudev, I'm still chanting. Spiritual master says, okay, very well. Okay, you continue chanting. Khub bhalo. And so the spiritual master does the offering, then he mantras and kirtan, everything done. And after time, he says, okay, Shishesho, time for taking prasadam. So the disciple says, Gurudev, aaj ke ami khub dukhi. I feel very bad. So spiritual master says, oh, Shishya, what happened? Oh, तीन बार आमी आपनाके ना बोलें. I said no to you 3 times, and that's why I'm very. Ekhan, this time आमी ना बोलते पारी ना. This time I cannot say no to you. I'm your disciple. I have to come. So see, in the name of sadhan bhakti or chanting, we have violated. One may violate the essential feature, essential aspect of Krishna consciousness. And that is what is his ultimate goal. So sadhan bhakti itself is not goal of life, goal of Krishna consciousness. Its purpose is to please Krishna in the Sri Guru. I will please Krishna directly if he comes to me. He has come in the form he has manifested in the form of the spiritual master. Only we have missed, only we may miss to treat him as such. That is the essence. So, what is the secret? How we will attain this, the seva lalsa for Krishna? Only, the only thing desired, how to develop that, how to achieve it, not by any punya karmas. That's the shloka says. By millions of lives of punya karma, sat karma, it cannot be achieved. So how it will be achieved? Only through sadhu sangha. Sangha means attachment. Only through sadhu sangha or mahat kripa or Sri Guru kripa, Vaishnava's kripa, it can be achieved. Other than that, there is no other means. There is no other way one can achieve. That's why Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu gives the definition of the nature, how the bhakti or this laulyam, the attraction, the intense desire to serve Krishna comes. Bhagavad bhakti, Bhagavad bhakti sangena parijayate. If we desire to develop our spontaneous attraction for Krishna and Krishna seva, then we have to associate with one who is very attached to Krishna seva, who is very attached to the spiritual master, because spiritual master is non different from. So that is the essence. Then the bhava, it is contagious. If you associate with a person who is imbued with the intense desire, strong desire to serve Krishna and the spiritual master, if you find your sangha there, then inevitably, in due course of time, your attraction and attachment to the sadhu, to Sri Guru, will be ignited. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hitkarna rasayana katha. Tad joshanad, through this culture, tad joshanad means through this culture of sadhu sangha. So ultimately, for the disciple, the ultimate sadhu is the Sri Guru. Tad joshanad ashu apavarga vartmani shraddha ratim bhaktim anukramishati. So this stage, shraddha means this sadhana bhakti. Shraddha rati means bhav bhakti. And bhakti itself means prem bhakti. So when we speak about bhakti, shraddha rati bhakti anukramisha, in this order. So shraddha, with faith we begin with sadhana bhakti, but its goal should be prema bhakti, and the beginning is bhav bhakti. Shraddha rati bhakti anukramisha. So same principle described elsewhere. Even Lord Brahma, when he is amazed by the potency of this bhakti or prema bhakti, that it absolves or uproots all the karma effect. Nothing else can do, because why? For millions and millions of births since eternity, we have been going through the cycle of birth and death, because the stage of pure devotional service is not achieved. And that's why Brahma says, Yaspindra Gopa Matavendra Maho Swakarma Bandhanu Rupa Phala Bhajanam Atmuti Karmani Nirdhati Kintucha. Just like Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swam, Kintucha, tu. Karmani nirdhati kintuja bhakti bhajam, one who is fully engaged in pure devotional service. Then he becomes free from his entanglement, deep-rooted entanglement through karma cycle, becomes uprooted. But how? The accomplishment whether somebody is fully devoted in Krishna consciousness, what is the symptom? That he will be fully dedicated, fully engaged to Sri Guru. Actually, who is Krishna Das? Actually, one who is Guru Das is definitely Krishna Das. But one who appears to be Krishna Das, just like that disciple who said 3 times, he dared to say to the spiritual master 3 times in the name of sadhana bhakti. So those who are very attached just to sadhana bhakti for the sake of it and wants to establish how well I can speak and how well I can attract people and how much sadhana, what time I get up and all these things. These are definitely very, very, very good. But they are the means. They are not the end. If the focus of the end is diluted, if it is violated, then we are still a far, far away cry from the real essence which is being described here. So the attachment to a pure devotee who is karmana mansa vacha, totally absorbed, totally engaged, devoted. So our dedication to the spiritual master, to a pure devotee, because when we think of taking initiation or want to join this path of pure devotion service, our choice of the spiritual master is along that scale. Who is a pure devotee? So if our vision, if our estimation of the person we are taking initiation from, if it is not on that absolute platform, then we will have to struggle later. But it is not that at the time of initiation one is completely, no, it should be our goal to achieve that level of pure loving consciousness by becoming attached in the service, in the dedication to the spiritual master. That alone will guarantee. But if we are lacking in our dedication, if we are not, our appraisal of the spiritual master is not on the absolute platform, until then we will procrastinate our attaining the pure loving platform. So the spiritual master is pleased with any soul, anyone who comes to his shelter, just like a father. Father is attached, father is concerned about the well-beings of all the children, previous children or the new children, or we cannot say that the father loves the previous child more than the new child. No, the spiritual master, anyone who comes to surrender, take shelter of this path, becoming initiated by him. And sometimes even the spiritual master may express his appreciation of the disciple. And that's very, very wonderful, But it's still how the disciple, how the sadhaka thinks about the spiritual master, that really matters. Many times the spiritual master appreciates the disciple publicly or in privacy, and if the disciple thinks that, oh, I have become more qualified, I have accomplished something more than others, it is a pure mercy of the spiritual master. We cannot, on that principle, we cannot say the spiritual master does not love the others who have not been publicly appreciated. The spiritual master is the most magnanimous person, and he loves, he cares, he is concerned about all. But how the disciple thinks about the spiritual master, that is the essence of this Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. Because if that attachment he has developed for the spiritual master and his service and his engagement, then his perfection is guaranteed. That's why Bhagavatam says, Tato dusangam utsrijyat satsu sajjeta buddhiman. An intelligent person is one who will crave to find his attachment to the association and the fulfillment of the desire of the spiritual master. just think in our line, if one has found one's genuine attachment for the spiritual master, it cannot leave us. Just as during the time of Srila Sripad or during the time of the spiritual master, many the new aspirants, they became deprived of the spiritual master. Srila Sripad left, and many aspirant candidates, they could not take direct shelter or initiation from the spiritual master. So many of us, we were in different ashrams. Some were brahmacharis, some were grihasthashramis, because basically only two ashrams, correct? All three ashrams necessitate brahmacharya. So, and those in the grihasthashram, they have their dependents, and the spiritual master is left. We found with lot of attachment, our association with the spiritual master. But the question is, was the attachment, our dedication, our devotion to the spiritual master sufficient? So this sufficient, this is the term. Is my attachment to the spiritual master and my dedication is sufficient? Because if sufficient is there, it would lead to devotion. It would lead to singular devotion. So, so now we missed out. And if somebody is aspiring, and if his attachment to the spiritual master was sufficient, what would he do? His attachment to the spiritual, Srila Sripad Guru Maharaj, or the spiritual master he was aspiring, it was very, very strong. Then what will he do? He would feel very, very devastated, correct? Attachment to the person with whom he wants to take initiation from, and he is no more available. What will be his situation? Devastation. But devastation is one reaction, but what comes later matters. So what will he do? Because of his love for the spiritual master, in case I can, but he is no more available. He has to find someone else, correct? Who should be that candidate? You become attached to a pure devotee with absolute conviction. You wanted to take shelter, you have taken shelter of him, but just initiation is only just was not made possible. So this becomes a real test if our attachment for that person was real. That's where in Prem Bhakti Chandrika the point comes, Ramachandra Sangha Mange Narottama Das. Then you will find a person who is also similarly very attached to the spiritual master. Because that way our attachment and dedication to that spiritual master will remain intact. The disciplic succession is linear, it is not horizontal. Horizontal is Sangha for attachment. But when it comes to disciplic succession, it is in a what you call horizontal and vertical. It is coming down. But most of the candidates, because they don't have sufficient attachment developed for the spiritual master, nor the associates, like in case of the grihasthashramis, if the parents are devoted and initiated by the spiritual master, if they have had developed sufficient attachment for their spiritual master, it's a point I'm trying to express. Then they would also find someone else for association, one who is very attached to the spiritual, very, at least as much or more attached and devoted and dedicated to the spiritual master and his mission, because they are God brothers, God sisters. Then we will grow, then we will prepare or educate our dependents, our children or anybody, to sustain that their disciplic succession. It's very difficult. I know few candidates who wanted to take initiation, but they waited until someone else, disciple of Srila Sripad, became so-called eligible. This eligibility is something very funny thing in our material world. It manifests in due course of time, but the attachment to the spiritual master can be sustained. Our dedication to the spiritual master, our devotion to the spiritual master, it has to be kept intact. But since it was not developed sufficiently by oneself, or we are surrounded with, we change that. Now the focus is gone, and that's why here, what is the nature of pure devotional service? We have identified a pure devotee, and our dedication will determine whether we have our treatment, our thought, our action, our relationship, our exchange with the person is on the level of seeing him as a pure devotee. That is the essence. One thing I just recalled in our dedication. Dedication is wholesome, and we all can begin with dedication, 100% dedication, because it will lead to devotion, as we have discussed many times. Once in California, most probably because I was driving with Srila Guru Maharaj. At least one disciple, maybe the only one. I think at that time, Brajapati Dasanudas, he was also traveling. So naturally, Prabhuji, now Swamiji, Bhakti Swarup Pujendra Swami Maharaj, he was in the back seat. And Guru Maharaj was discussing, maybe we were going to dentist. My uncle is a dentist in California. So we were, for Guru Maharaj, around that time, or it could be somewhere else. And so Guru Maharaj was discussing, very light atmosphere. Guru Maharaj was so very freely speaking his, and in a very light mood, Guru Maharaj expressed. He said that when Brajapati came to me, then he gave everything to me. And he described that when Maharaj joined him, that he brought all his saving, 40,000 something, I may be wrong, whatever. And Guru Maharaj said that he gave everything to me. Example he gave was whatever he had. That is full surrender, isn't it? It is not how much one has, but giving everything means it's the mood. So Guru Maharaj very much appreciated. So in the same way, what Krishna or the spiritual master, he does not see how much we give, but what we give, Krishna doesn't see. He is interested in what we keep. Because Krishna wants our full surrender. Spiritual master is waiting for our full surrender. In this stage, when we are not spoiled by so much opulence, this is our best time to give all out to the spiritual master and save from the possibility of entanglement further. Again, the main point is, even when we begin with full dedication, giving everything out, and spiritual master also appreciating it, how to sustain it, how to sustain it to the point, to all the time. And that will depend on our attitude, rather than becoming, establishing or claiming that, see, spiritual master has revealed, he said that I'm fully devoted. Actually, there are a lot of paradoxes on this path of pure devotional service, because there is nothing to claim. Even when somebody praises us as fully dedicated, fully devoted, a pure devotee, a pure sadhaka, he thinks it's hardly anything he can claim, because it's all due to the causeless mercy of the spiritual master. And without that consciousness of feeling blessed rather than feeling qualified. Our sense of hankering will be blocked. The sense of accomplishment will come, and we will be again be subjected to another birth, and in this lifetime. So that's why this full dedication is the only way, and the devotion will depend on how much we appraise the purity or the absolute nature as a pure devotee of the spiritual master. At least one person that will do, no matter what our sanskara, how previously we have done. If you think of our previous sanskara since eternity, how many births we have taken? Where is the question? However wonderful my sanskaras in a previous life, but if I do not engage, if I do not grow myself into that becoming attached to the devotional service of the spiritual master in Krishna, what is a guarantee that my previous good sanskara will do me any good? It will cause me to take another birth. But if one feels one's most fallen, degraded condition, utterly unqualified, then he can feel in contrast, the contrast of the pure mercy of the spiritual master. So how much I feel the beauty or the magnitude or the gravity of the mercy of the spiritual master, of the pure devotee, in comparison to how fallen I am. What an amazing super lotto. Super lotto. Lotto is a word for lottery in America. If somebody wins a super lotto with millions of dollars, how one feels. So that much great fortune has been bestowed upon us. We have all been blessed with the super lotto fortune. And in this lifetime, if we sustain this sense that how, in spite of being utterly unqualified due to many reasons, I have been blessed with this path and taking shelter of a pure devotee of spiritual master. Then we can find tremendous attraction and appreciation and trying to imbibe the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, just as Chitraketu. He feels, yes, whatever has happened is a mercy of the spiritual, mercy of the Supreme Lord. And that mercy principle, when remains sustained, then we will never see arrogance in our behavior, in our speech, in our actions, or in our thought. So dainya is humility, genuine humility, when the sense of mercy is experienced incessantly, and we will be protected from violating the behavior of humility in our lives. So many things to discuss, but we'll stop here. Thank you, all the participants. And if there is anything to be further discussed, please come forward. And any questions? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Ram.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for this wonderful class.
Bhagavatam is so wonderful. No?
Achit Keshav Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat.
Dandavat Ram Avgosha Srila
Maharaj, like you are speaking in this class about the laulyam, the devotional greed. So now, if someone, by Krishna's mercy, is meeting Mahaprabhu, like we met Guru Maharaj. So now, this is Krishna's mercy, and we met Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj gave the mercy by giving initiation, by incorporating us in his group and trying to teach us the devotional science. But this devotional greed or attachment to Guru Maharaj is not developing fully. So now it is explained because of our free will. Because we have free will, so we use our free will to do so many other things to the service of Guru Maharaj. Now, whether this free will is subjected to us only, or Krishna also interferes in that? Because if Krishna does not interfere in that, then why Krishna made us meet Guru Maharaj? This Mahakripa is coming through Krishna, means from Krishna through Guru Maharaj. But Mahakripa is how, whether it is subject, means what is the role in that Kripa of to the free will? And also this dedication and attachment, are these two same thing, or dedication leads to attachment? Because we can tell whoever is serving Guru Maharaj, we can tell they are dedicated to Guru Maharaj. But what degree of dedication will lead to attachment?
Well, the desire for attachment and the free will becomes settled when one agrees to take initiation with the spiritual master. That is where the free will is settled now. You have surrendered yourself to someone. You have given your command, your destiny. Your destiny is in the hand of someone. That much you value the spiritual master. It's Krishna. As much as we will value Krishna if he appears in his Shyam Sundar form, you know. Many people fantasize this. If Krishna comes and directly tells me, I will do everything. If Narad Muni comes and tells me, oh, Narad Muni is a guarantee, is a certified, the one who is made. But that same fortune has come to our life. This is how the disciple should think of the spiritual master. He's the most blessed soul, you know. He's the most blessed. He's an associate of Krishna. And Krishna, in order to qualify me, to make me eligible for his service, he's checking me out, how much ready you are. If you value me, if I love Krishna, I will also love one who loves Krishna, one who is dear to Krishna. Then otherwise he will just love himself. Oh, I love Krishna, and so, but Krishna, whether Krishna loves you or not, because one who really loves Krishna, he never claims that he loves Krishna. Rather, he has no love for Krishna. So there are a lot of paradoxes. If you contemplate on this subject matter through a lot of paradoxes, how other people think about me, but what I think about myself, that matters. What the spiritual master thinks about me, that's very wonderful, that's very critical, but that is not the end of it. How I think of the spiritual master, that ultimately will matter. So your free will is settled. You have agreed to surrender. You have agreed to dedicate your lives, karmana mansa vacha 24/7. It's just matter of time. If you sustain your dedication, it will definitely lead to devotion. How can it not lead, you know? Dhyayate Vishyan Punsa means our Sangha becomes further intensified, becomes Prasanga. And Prasanga becomes deep attachment. Sangha ultimately means attachment. So what level of attachment you develop? If you see something again and again, if you listen to someone again and again, and if you serve the person again and again, then your thought will your consciousness will be captured by the thought of that person. Ultimately, if you think of someone, you would want to be with the person all the time. But in consciousness, you can always associate with him and think of what should I do to please the person. Just as the gopis were always thinking, you know, always thinking of how to serve Krishna, how to do something to please him, even when Krishna acted very funnily, you know. But that separation caused in the gopis, exposed gopis